All right, welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. I'm your host, Tim Lyons, in the studio, joined by Randy Angston. What's up, buddy?
How are we doing today?
Doing good. We've got Nick on the ones and twos over here. We've got some sound effects, so we're going to play with them. We were just having a good old time before this show. So he's going to probably layer some stuff in. But before we get into this episode, which is going to be a good one, we got a quick announcement. Our Fit Pro Growth Summit's coming up in June of next year. It sounds like it's a ways out. Yes, thank you guys. Thanks. Appreciate it. fitprogrowsummit.com. You're going to want to check out the speaker lineups on there. We've got a little bit of the more details in the scheduling. We actually have a pre-con from Nicole at HSN Nutrition. And we've got a VIP upgrade this year. You could have lunch with the speakers. There's a lot of cool stuff, guys. So if you're interested, if you're listening to the show, you are a gym owner, this is for you. This whole event's designed for growth for brick and mortar gym owners.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you come to this, right?
Yeah, and like you said, if you're listening to this, I mean, it's going to be a an in-person, immersive experience for growth. Like, you're going to want to be in that seat, that's for sure.
Yeah. And we love these events, and we plan like basically a year in advance to get this thing going. So check it out, fitprogrowsummit.com. The link will be in the show notes, and be excited to meet you guys in person, which would be even better.
Yeah, absolutely. Always, it's one of my favorite days of the year, or events of the year. We have so much fun, so many great faces. I mean, you just want to just lock in your seat. You're going to want to be there. That's for sure.
Perfect. Okay, so this episode we're going to talk about math. It's not rocket science. A lot of our decisions in this business come from the emotional brain, or the emotional side of the brain, unfortunately. And I'm a very logical person, black and white. Does it make sense? That's how I run my life, and that's how you run your life. And but that's not everybody. From what I've understood, I mean, you look around, there's a lot of people making decisions off of emotions that aren't the best for the business. I'll give you a quick example. We have a gym owner that's in our iron circle, doing great numbers. In fact, we shared our wins on our global call not that long ago, a week ago, right? Last week. And he was talking about his numbers. He's in the 90s per month, 90,000 a month. And he told us about how many members he had. And I was like, wait a minute. The math kind of makes it sound like your revenue per member is a lot lower than it should be, which it is, because once we started digging into it, he's got a lot of old members on old rates that have been there, and he's very emotional about not wanting to rock the boat and disrupt the culture and lose people and have to face it head on. And when we started really thinking about it, especially for this episode, it makes total sense as to why you would just go ahead and bite the bullet, raise the rates, even if you lose people. You're still going to be making more money. So you have more money, more revenue, the higher revenue per member, higher revenue per month, even with losing some clients and clearing it out, the old guard, right?
Yeah.
And you have less people that have to manage, and you're making more money. And it's like, not that you want to kick anybody out, and you do want to show that, hey, you supported us from day one, and we really appreciate you. But at the end of the day, look, it's not good for you. It's not good for them. It is good for them for their bank account, sure. But you're not able to give them the level of service that you should, because you don't have the revenue to support all these clients, right? And by support, I mean having extra coaches, extra things, and equipment, and all those things that go with being able to service high volumes of people.
And, in revenue per client, right? And that's where it came up. It was the average, because to his credit, he has done the raise. He has raised his rates. Yeah. He has increased the revenue per client coming through the door. But this was his opportunity to look at the business as a whole and say, okay, and that's where it was really apparent to you and I when we heard those numbers, right? We compare to other, like your gym and the revenue per client and things like that. And that's where there's a greatest opportunity. The path is math type of thing, right? Looking at the business as a whole and seeing where the opportunity is. He doesn't have to go worry about new client revenue. That's already figured out. He did it. But this is his opportunity to do the work type of thing. How do we take the clients that aren't at that level and get them to the current day rates, right? So what needs to happen to make that change? And I know you guys have done that here at Pulse or now Legacy, right? With that transition. And there just comes a time in the business where you have to make those hard decisions. Yes, does it suck that we have to let go some people that, can't afford our services or are unwilling to, make that transition and pay more for that service? Sure. But this kind of sits with that whole abundance versus scarcity mindset, right? If your business is where it is today at the revenue, or at the rates that you're charging somebody walking through the door, it's your obligation to charge the person who's walking through right after them the same revenue, right? Ethically, why is one person paying more and the other person paying less for the same service? And that's one of the hard things about business is, we've talked about the founders rates, right? Locking in somebody from at day one and giving them lifetime rates at that membership. You're pigeonholing your business forever based on that, initial sale. And it's not the right way to do to run a business. Things change. This last couple of years with the inflation rates and the cost of doing business, if we didn't have the ability to raise rates on our clients, you, the business owner, are taking that hit.
Yep, you are taking the hit. In fact, many of you are taking it right now, and you're not raising the rates. And listen, I'm in the same boat, right? We have clients in this gym today. It's changing in January, which is only a couple weeks out, that are paying rates from years ago, and I know it. And I was afraid, right? Like, they're such a great client. Hell, they even signed up on our grand opening 13 years ago. And anytime we have raised their rates, but not as high as we should have. So it was like this global, everybody's going to get raised up $25 or whatever it was at the time coming out of COVID. And everybody did. We didn't really hear much about it. We lost one person. And everybody kind of understood there was some new protocol, cleaning, stuff like it has to happen. And everybody's willing to kind of adjust, but they're still paying like 30% less than they should. January 1st, everybody's moving up. We're about 68% through the whole database, getting them on the new contracts. And so we're meeting with each person. And we've lost a lot of people too.
Yeah.
And it's just like we've lost people. We're still up revenue because we're calculating every.
And that's exactly. So you mentioned it was fear that kind of prevented you from making that decision. How do you mitigate fear? You give yourself knowledge, right? And so the same thing that we do when we talk with one of our coaching clients on raising rates is we look at every member, where the revenue's coming from, what they're making per member, and then we look at the change that we're going to make, right? How many members are paying the higher rate versus the lower rate? How many of those lower paying clients we can afford to lose or transition into the higher price programming? What is that gap? What is that percentage of clients that we can afford to lose that we or replace in order to break even?
Yeah.
And that becomes the goal. That becomes the work, right? I don't think we've personally have we ever taken a gym through a transition and lost?
Not
revenue?
Lost. No. I mean, we've lost clients, but not revenue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And isn't that the objective, right? Why is it? I mean, the idea here is more revenue allows you to be able to go turn around and do more with it, right? Like you said, more better equipment, better staff, more staff, all of those things. It's the growth of business. Revenue is the growth of business, not a client count.
Oh yeah, it's revenue. So the client numbers are. They're not important. They're not the driver.
Exactly.
Revenue, deposits in the bank that's the driver, right? So again, you've got clients in your gym right now that are paying these old rates. You have to make a decision eventually. Might as well do it now. The longer you wait, the harder it's going to become. So it's like, okay, where should they be? And, is this a price raise, a price correction? A lot of gyms will raise rates, but only for new clients. That's a way to like incrementally increase revenue. But it's nothing like if you just do a global price correction and like anybody that was on 2 years ago pricing is now moving to this. And the question is how to finesse that in, how to communicate that in. What story do you have to tell in order to make it not go over like a lead balloon? We talked about it with our buddy Stu. He came in an Iron Circle call. He's like, listen, man, you don't you look at Netflix, you look at Hulu, you look at these, you just get a price raise email. There's no justification. There's no, we added these 3 pieces of equipment we added more programming, so then we can justify the price. The price goes up. And that's it. There was no explanation whatsoever.
Well, and think about it too. Like if you're incrementally increasing the price, right, for every new person walking through the door, that might be great for a business that's, high volume team training where every 3 months you have a whole new client base. Boom, you did it in 3 months.
Yeah, that's
right?
true. That's true.
But now we're talking about semi-private training or these training gyms where at the same time we're boasting that clients will stay with us for 8, 9, 10 years, 12 years, 15 years. Are your clients paying you what you charged them 15 years ago? If that's the case, guys, you got to do better. Like, that's not how business works. It should not work that way. And you, as the business owner, are the one that's making that decision. You need to make that change. So many gym owners are handcuffed by the whim of their clients, the desires of their clients, and it goes back to that fear. What if I lose those clients? What if I lose a few? Well, do the math, figure it out. When you increase the revenue across everybody to where it needs to be, you'll know exactly how much revenue you could afford to lose, equate that to clients, and now you have a complete understanding of what that risk is. Now you can make an intelligent decision on how to operate.
And when we do that math, let's just say, for example, we could afford to lose 20 clients and break even on the new rates. Let's just say if that's the number. Every single time that number's come in way like 8, 7.
Yeah.
Like we're not even getting close to 20. So like we'll lose 7 people and the 13 that we could have lost are paying the higher rates, and globally your revenue's up, you're happier, these new clients are paying a little bit higher, and everything kind of works out. Cash flow's king. Cash flow is your business. Without cash flow, you're dead in the water, right? Like even we talk about the math of marketing and how long can you float that until you get the return on investment. And the longer you can float, the better you can play in the game.
Yeah.
But if it's only like, I got to get this money back in my account immediately, you have to make unrational decisions sometimes and emotional decisions.
I was just going to say, it's an emotional decision at that point because now it's not a logical math-based rooted, decision. You're grasping at straws type of thing. And that's tough. And now as a gym owner, if you're making an emotional decision, that stress level's coming with it. You feel like there's big risk involved. Like if we laid the whole path out there and showed you mathematically that this is what it's going to be, you don't feel that same level of stress and fear. And
you go in knowing like it's okay if I lose 8 people.
Yeah.
And so you lose 6 and you're like, damn, we did pretty good.
Exactly. Yeah.
But if you didn't, every single time you lost somebody, you'd be crushed. Like, oh man, we shouldn't have done this.
Yeah, and that's where. And then I'm thinking how many people start or have like the best of intentions to do something like that, or they they talk to their one close member and they're like, hey, well, I'm thinking about doing this, and that one person has their own emotional beliefs around it. Oh, you can't do that. Oh my God, no, I won't. I can't pay anymore. Look, they're not going to pay more. Now everything is based around one person's emotional state. Like,
I get with Zach all the time, and I bust in your chops too. Like everybody's saying this. Yeah. Everybody's upset about the light fixture in the lobby. I heard this.
I bet.
Everybody's upset, and he's like, "Well, I mean, great. I really don't like it either." I go, "Dude, we're talking about a light fixture first off, but we're talking about everybody. Like there's a line outside your door about a light fixture they don't like." Well, I heard it from so and so and so. It's okay. So we're talking about 2 people and you.
And it feels that way when you're in it. That's the thing. It feels, it's an emotion, right? So like, when you get the couple, right? Or like, a couple people say no in a row, you're like, damn, this doesn't work. I got to change everything. But it is, because it's a feeling.
Everybody. It's
a feeling. And that's a perfect example. Ben, our keynote for the Growth Summit, my coach, right? His whole thing is standards over emotions. And that's a perfect example. When you're getting hit with all of that suck, right? Like all of the negative feedback, and it's minimal negative feedback like we're talking about. But that it allows our emotional state to be, to be skewed, right? We're now following their emotional beliefs. If we don't go back to the standard, which means the work that we know gets the result that we're looking for. If we allow that emotion to take hold, then we do things differently, right? We make that emotional decision and we don't act in alignment with the standard that we've set. That's when problems arise, or that's when we fail to do what we know gets us where we need to be. That's the premise of this whole episode. When the math is in front of you and you make a decision despite the evidence, you're not making the best decision for the business. You're not making it with the best information. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You're making it from a feeling and not a fact.
Yeah, you have to have all the facts first. And that's unfortunately how a lot of, I go right to the news.
Oh, God.
The news, the media will report on something without having any facts based on a feeling they decide they want to have today. And 9 times out of 10, it's wrong, right?
We see it. I mean, it couldn't be more obvious over the last few years about how the emotional state of something could be completely contradictory to the facts and mathematical situation. Right. And yet massive movement towards that emotional belief.
Yeah. Well,
literally while looking at stats and going, screw that. So it's difficult, but I mean, at the end of the day, the math doesn't lie. Mm-hmm. And that's the big thing. And math holds true when we've done these transitions. You know, when we talk about the math of marketing, like, you're not going to fake a successful marketing campaign because you've got a great shiny ball, shiny object. The math will tell you. The marketplace is the ultimate decider. Those wins and losses are going to be evident in the numbers, regardless of how you feel.
Guys, and we have a calculator for you if you're interested in that. And the math of marketing, it's winninggym.com/math, I'm guessing.
I believe so, yeah.
winninggym.com/math. Go learn the math of marketing. It's one of the most powerful lessons we teach in our coaching program, and it's basically turned full-blown gyms around. It's helped gym owners understand where their money's going and whether or not they should press the gas or turn it on or turn it off, right? Like, that's it. And it's night and day. You fill out the numbers, it pops out the result, and hey, this is a winning campaign. Let's leave it on.
And that's what it is. Like, everybody in this industry, we talk about it all of the time, right? Everyone's running similar ads, similar type ad campaigns, challenges, whatever you may be doing. I don't care what kind of marketing you're doing. The math of marketing holds true in every single one of them, period, bar none, because it is the foundation of acquiring a client. It is understanding what you can and should be spending to acquire that client for your business in opposition of giving it to your, allowing your competition to do the same. But that is the KPI, the key performance indicator that makes all of marketing a win or loss. Like, if you aren't clear on that, you should not be running any marketing, period.
Perfect. All right, well, that's it for this episode. Hopefully that helps you guys. It's all about the facts, the math. It's not rocket science. It's not emotional. It's logic, especially if you're sitting with these clients that are on 15, 20-year-old plans and they're still paying you those low rates. You know what? The path is math. If you got to lose a couple to gain more, then that might be the decision you have to make. So hopefully that helps you. We'll go win the day. I'm waiting for the sound effects to come in, the applause. Hopefully that helps. Yeah. Thank you guys. That's it for this episode. Until next time, keep changing lives. We'll see you on the next show. Bye. All right, and thank you for listening to that episode of the Built to Grow podcast, where we help gym owners win. Now, do you want to connect with me and other gym owners online? All you need to do is join our private Facebook group, Business Talk with Fitness Professionals. Just head on over to Facebook and type in Business Talk with Fitness Professionals, and when you do, we're going to give you our 10 marketing strategies 7-figure gym owners use to win. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until then, keep building something great.